Hey guys, welcome to another video, and today we are in Valheim, which is the new survival Viking game that has just sold 3 million copies online, and it's hugely popular at the moment. So I've been playing it for about 40 hours now, and there are some things which I didn't know at the beginning, and I wish I did. So what I thought I'd do is create this video with some beginner's tips, so you can know those things more quickly and therefore really get into the game. And let's just stress, these tips are not for people who have played this game for any length of time. They are strictly beginners tips. So let's get started. Valheim is a craft based game. You need to build workbenches, and to do that you need a hammer. It's one of the basic things you can craft right at the beginning. When you get your hammer, you right click and it brings up your craft menu. At this point you will see a craft tab, and there you can build a workbench. That is key to getting your first items crafted. So you need to place one of those down. It has a radius in which you can use it. You discover more recipes for crafting as the game progresses. So you do have to complete certain quests to unlock particular items. The trick being, these quests that you complete are harder and harder, so you have to up your character with better weaponry and armor. But something that I didn't realize at the beginning was that actually using items or crafting items will unlock new recipes. So if you pick some carrots, for example, it will unlock carrot soup in your schematics, if you like, at your whatever, it may be a workbench, but you may also be looking at the fire, maybe looking at the cauldron. You can see over here we've got those two lined up. They have to have the fires beneath them. Your health bar can take 3 types of food, and what I mean by that is when you eat food it ups your health bar, and it gives it a maximum number of points depending on what type of food you eat. Now, you can start out by foraging for berries like strawberries or raspberries and blueberries. These early items actually come into play later as part of recipes. You can eat them on their own, but they don't give you much of an uplift in your health bar. Once you learn recipes like carrot soup here, right click it in your inventory, or cook meat, you can notice down here that your health bar maximum increases. Now obviously when you get into fights, the higher that is, the better. So to recap, your health bar takes 3 types of food. It is such a frustrating part of Valheim, but done very well, because it links directly to your health bar down there. So if you're well fed and in fact rested, your stamina bar will be longer along the screen at the bottom here. You can see it's quite a long bar. That will shrink the lower your health goes and your stock of food, if you like. So it's harder to swing your weapon for longer or sprint for longer. Now when you don't sprint, you just hold the W, then your stamina does regain again. But you have to bear that in mind. If you get into a situation where you're running somewhere and then you suddenly get attacked, your stamina bar will be used up and it will be hard to swing your weapon at the creatures who are attacking. It's very tempting to lay down your floor by the sea and then build your property up from that spot. But I would recommend in building up a bit first, maybe put some stilts, and the reason being the sea line fluctuates quite dramatically, and you tend to find that the waves come rolling in and they wash up into your house. So it will put your fires out, which can be a pain when you want to sleep, because you need a lit fire next to your bed when you sleep. And it can also be a pain when you want to cook stuff. Generally, and it makes you wet, which can nerf some of your stats. So just be aware, build up a little bit when you start out on the coast. Something you really want to avoid, even experienced players, they tend to avoid it, is travelling at night. It can be okay, but there's every chance that the Grey Dwarfs and the Greylings, they will appear, and they have shamans and brutes who will also join them in their hunt for you. So as it gets to night time, I will always find a bed, set up a bed. I've got a series of homes across the map where I can stop at, or I build new ones, and I then avoid travelling at night. It can be a drain. You can survive these attacks. They don't do a lot of damage once you get to a certain level, but it is annoying to have to fend them off all the time. So whenever I can, I do travel by day, seeing a smelter. Now, to do that, you need to get some Surtling core, which throbs with inner heat. These are found in dungeons. Now, dungeons are scattered across the map, so you've got to get out there and explore. To do that, I would highly recommend that you get yourself equipped first. Get yourself a weapon, get yourself some clothing. Now, when you go into the dungeon, these Surtling cores are pretty obvious. And although there are a few difficult creatures in dungeons, you can enter and complete 70% of that dungeon and find yourself 4, which is the base that you need to set yourself up with a smelter. Now that may be 5, it's 4 or 5. And then, and we'll have a look at it in a minute, you can start doing some mining. So the two main biomes that you will encounter early in the game is the meadows, which is the one you start in. You can see the top right hand corner on the map, top right hand corner of the map, you've got meadows. And that's probably the easiest biome to survive in. And then you go to the Black Forest. You can see we have a change in the name on the map there. And immediately we've got some Greylings over the top right over there. You can see in the distance those boys there. Now, the Black Forest throws up some other bits and pieces that you're going to want to get your hands on. So one of the things that the Black Forest throws up is copper. You can see here, this is an area I've been mining. But the thing that makes copper stand out is this little kind of slithery line of silver that goes through the rock covering, part of its skin there. So keep your eyes peeled for that, and then mark it up so you can come back and mine it out later. Now, the second type of metal that can be found in the Black Forest is tin. Okay, Black Forest tin. You can see it's got a silver line running through it as well. It's a bit more shiny. It stands out. They seem a bit smaller than some of the boulders that you've got here. That is a tin deposit, and they gather around rivers, coastal lines, those areas there. So they're the two main initial metals that you will need to mine using the antler that you get from killing the first boss. So, and then once you get into the game, you can get things like bronze. Now you use tin and copper to create bronze, and then you get further advanced into the game as you go. And you can see there's a few bits here. You can repair your items. Rather than making a new one, which is often the case in some games, you can actually repair them. And it's not immediately obvious when you look at the workbench menu where that is. Now, it took me a while to figure, but now that I've seen it, it's pretty obvious. But if you want to repair items, there's a little repair hammer here, like a little tab on the side of the workbench menu. If you click that, it then repairs all the items for free, which is really cool. And if you've got more higher end items, say the forge here, You've got another little repair thing you can do there. Repairs it all very nicely. We're going to head out and have a look at a couple of things in the landscape. But something that I find very handy, and if you press M, it brings up map, is I tag things on the map. I create markers. You can see here I've put down a small house which I've built that you can stay at, a dungeon, couple of dungeons, copper, some other copper down here, over here, tin. So I know where I'm heading. So when I'm running through the landscape, if I spot those, I'm not in a position to actually mine at the time. I will make a little note on the map so that I can come back to it. To do that, all you have to do is select an icon on the menu on the right here. You've got 5 choices. I should suspect that will increase. And then just double click on the map, and it gives you a little box to type a label in. And then you can, if it was a dungeon, say for example, type dungeon, and then you can right click it to get rid of it. It's very handy. Highly recommend it. Talked about not being out at night. But even during the day, you still get quite a lot of hassle. This is not your land. This is a cursed land in a sense. And you got a whole bunch of creatures. All these creatures, apart from the deer, will attack you. So just be on your guard and just be conscious. And something that I find that's very handy is I've learned all the sounds the animals make. It's not hard, but as you come into their zones, you will hear the sound first and you can act accordingly. You can see this troll here. You can escape trolls. They get stuck on things as they're coming through the forests. If you manage your stamina correctly, then you can escape them. And they will eventually leave you alone. See, he's got to come through. And they do throw stones. Just be careful. Oh. Don't you get stuck in stuff either. That's a really important point. Look where you're running. You can hear him behind you, which gives you a clue. As far as berries go, blueberries grow in forests like this, and raspberries grow out on the plains. Also with raspberries, you may find that they are being grown in abandoned farms. So you'll find little villages or farmsteads where they've got enclosures, and in those enclosures they have been growing raspberries. So as you can see, we've found a little settlement here. It's got a few houses, very atmospheric, but it's got these enclosed areas where you've got berries you can pick. Mark these spots because they will respawn, as I was saying before. For the map, you will sometimes find a stone circle that is actually in the shape of a boat. Now, this is where a ship has been buried, a Viking ship. And if you dig in these circles, you'll need a pickaxe to do that, and you will find money and a chest which usually has a pearl necklace in, or something similar to that. Here we go. Sit here. Yeah, look, you've got the chest. We've got a silver necklace, sorry, not a pearl necklace, and some rubies and an amber pearl. Oh, and the skeletal remains, such like that, if you have a search underground. So definitely worth just stopping and getting those. Whenever I'm fighting a troll, I will always use a bow at this stage. And you can see there, using the bow saps your energy. You mustn't forget that. You want to try and get things between you and the big guy. See, look, oh dear, look, because it's night time. And I've got some greylings coming out as well, who are going to add to the hassle. So I've got to use my sword to take these guys down. So building game is pretty much like most of these survival games. You have a tool, get the hammer out here, and you right click and you get a selection of things that you can pick, and use the wheel on the mouse to turn it and it will click into position. It can be built anywhere really, and very flexible. It can be a little bit fiddly sometimes, but I've been very impressed with it. And you can see here there are a range of different types of building. You will eventually get to stone. For the moment you start with wood. A circle of stones. Now on each of these stones is a boss and a clue about their location and who they are, and you have to fight each of these one by one, and they will reveal new technologies that you need, such as the antler for the first one. And you can see you fight this big old deer, and it reveals you get antlers that you can then make into your first pickaxe, which then allows you to mine. On this character I've only done one boss, but I'm going to go and fight the tall treeman with this character very soon, and then move on to the swamp and so on. I mean, I don't want to reveal too much of it because it's spoilers, but you get find stones as well, which allow you to mark the location where you have to sacrifice an item to then summon these boss creatures. So you are a bit restricted on how much you can craft until you've actually defeated these monsters. So the storyline is important to crafting as well, which I personally find quite annoying, but it is intrinsic in the game. It gets you out there exploring the map a bit more. Now you can tame boar. When I first started this game I thought this was pretty awesome, and I hope it's something that they work on, the developers. You can tame them, and you can then cull them, and you can gather scraps of leather scraps there and harvest those. Now I personally, now that I've done it, I don't feel like I need to do it much more. To be honest, there are so many boars in game, I don't really find it a problem. But it's quite fun, and I think that they will expand this part of the game as it develops. And to tame a boar, all you need to do, well, I say all, you need to aggro the boar into a pen, which you've made here. You obviously have got to have a workbench nearby to be able to crate these, and then you just drop down things like berries or mushrooms and carrots. They will eat those, and gradually they will tame, and then they will give birth to little piggies, which then grow up very quickly to be boar, and you can harvest them, and then you've got your pet boars. So even at low levels you can fortify your settlement. You've got stake walls here and these stake spikes sticking out, but it's worth knowing, and the gates as well, it's worth knowing that they will get attacked. And you can see here a greyling has probably thrown himself on these spikes, and we have got some resin here. Resin used to make torches. Torches are very handy in game. They scare off a lot of the creatures. So if, as we were talking about, you are out at night, having a torch out, little thing that's worth noting is that berries do respawn. So it takes a while, but if you mark on the map where they are, and then you can come back later on, especially where there's a lot of bushes like this one here, you can come back to them in a couple of days, and they will be respawned, and you can gather your berries there. The Black Forest is carrot seeds. The plant grows here, and you just simply have to pick them, although you will need a space in your inventory to obviously hold them. And then once you've collected those, as long as you can cultivate the land, you've got the tool to do that, then you can plant them. You gather your carrot seeds, you go right click on the menu, it gives you an option, click on the carrot, and then you get a little carrot head there, and you can just click left mouse button and it will plant these. Give them a good space apart and they'll be perfectly fine. Repairing buildings may not be immediately obvious. What you need to do is put your hammer in your hand, right click, and then there's a little image of the hammer there on the top left hand corner, and click that and you go into repair mode, and it says down the bottom there. And then when you hover over something, it gives you a health bar for that object, and you can click it. This one doesn't actually need any repairs, but you will then repair it at no extra cost, so that is very cool. Don't forget that you can upgrade items as well. So if we click on the workbench, you can see there's a craft section here, and there's a list of all the things that you can craft there, and that grows, and you can repair like we did before. But you can also upgrade, and it gives you a list of the things you can upgrade, and also what you need to do it. So deer hide, bone fragments, and stuff like that. But you also may need to upgrade your workbench. Same goes over here. You can see we can upgrade a lot of what I've got here by having some more bronze. Another key thing in game is that your character has skills. Now, these skills will improve as you do things. So if you jump around and run a lot, your jumping skill and your running skill will improve. And there's a whole range of them. In fact, you can have a look on your character sheet. You can see here, if you go to character sheet, you've got this menu on the top right hand corner. If you click on this symbol here, you can see my skill levels for this character. I've done a lot of wood cutting. I use the knife a lot, and the sword skill is beginning to improve. Another thing worth noting is that in the Black Forest you have pine and you have fir trees. Okay, when you take down a pine tree, you get a special type of early wood, and then we'll have a look at it here. You notice rolling trees do damage. You can see there's different types of wood there. Let's just get that and move out of the way here. We picked up a core wood then, and that is a more refined wood that can be used to make higher quality items. When you come into a village, or when you see a tower that's built on its own maybe, or some kind of structure, have a listen. If you can hear the bees, that's good. The bees, if you can find beehives, that is a really bonus thing. If you hit it, destroy it, you can see up here we have a bee. Now this is the queen bee, obviously, and with this you unlock beehives, and you can set beehives up in your base and they will produce honey. Right, so we've got the wood. Click on crafting, select the beehive, and you can see here, I'm going to put another one down. It has to have open space, it needs to be out in the open. You can protect your beehives. I've protected it by building on this little peninsula here. and it's safe. And the more beehives the better, because we'll get more honey, which will be awesome. Okay, so that was my beginner's guide to Valheim. I hope you found it useful. It's all the things that I kind of wish I knew more quickly when I first started playing the game. It's not for experienced players. It's strictly for people who maybe in for an hour or haven't played it yet and just want to see what is coming so they can get a quick start. If you found it useful, click the thumbs up. If you haven't subbed already, it'd be awesome if you could. That helps the channel grow and build the community. So guys, thanks for watching, and I will see you again very soon. Probably in this game, but also with some DayZ. Take care.